Hello. Today we will discuss mice and muffins.
Yeah, that sounds very thought-provoking. I'm not sure if I'm going to cope.
Well, it's always a challenge to go to therapy and confront yourself or yourselves or your mice or your muffins. But the other day we were talking about wasps and bees, and I'm not sure if the wasps and bees and mosquitoes are listening to our episodes, but a wasp tried to come into my apartment. But I said, you are not welcome here today. So I came back in and closed the door and went about my business, and then this, that, and the other, and got ready for bed and went to sleep. And then when I woke up this morning, I noticed a mosquito bite on my ankle. The only thing I can think about is that while I was thinking about how I did not want the wasp in here, a mosquito flew in. There's like so many things that can go wrong in life, like a mosquito could fly into your apartment.
Well, there is always that. I've had an issue, yeah, with starting conversations for most of my life, as far as I can tell. But you always surprise me. Like what you've just said could serve as a great conversation starter with people.
I am pretty good at starting things. I'm not very good at finishing them, but I start many things. I start many stories. I start many books. I start. I'm a great starter. I have a lot of plans, places I want to go, things I want to do. I have all these things I've planned because I feel like if I plan a lot and I have a lot going on, well, probably one or two of those things will happen.
Yeah,
Like my
I
friend
think.
David. Go ahead.
No, tell me about your friend David.
No, my friend David, I always thought David would be like, one or two blocks away. And like I have now found out that he's going to move, and he's going to possibly be moving in with the bodybuilder who was the barber of Father Don. Do you see how this is all like a conspiracy against me? Here in Dallas, one of our favorite people is Father Don, who is very good at listening and being very zen. And I had found out that when David roomed with this one guy named Joe, I was talking about I was going to this going away party for Father Don, and Joe said, "What Father Don?" And I said, "The Father Don." He goes, "He is my, what do they call him, victim? No, he's my client. I cut his hair." And then this, that, and the other. So now I feel like possibly Father Don and David Anton and Joe are plotting against me to have fun. And I think it's going to be up in Mesquite. Mesquite is east of Dallas. But I'm just trying to breathe through it, because that is not happening right now. Right now, probably David is asleep in his bed, and probably Father Don is asleep in California, and probably Joe is asleep wherever he is. And there's just like so many changes. And another thing is Joe used to like younger women. Guess what?
Well,
Joe supposedly is now in some kind of situationship with an older woman. Things are just changing all the time.
I legitimately just don't even know what to tell you. And even if I did know, I feel like anything I would say would be completely pointless at this point.
No, just the fact that you're listening helps me because Father Don. I think I've sent you a picture of Joe. He does bodybuilding. He's all into bodybuilding, and I just feel like that you were kind of the nexus of it all. Like you know these various people, and you know me, and we're in therapy. So let's get back to our topic today, mice and muffins.
Do you want to talk about that?
Wasn't that the topic? I don't know. I don't know what I want.
How does that make you feel? I mean, mice and muffins.
Well, I'm not too keen on mice, but once I was in New York and I learned a new word. It's called nutria, Nutria. These are subway rats that have morphed into some kind of like weird creatures because the Manhattan Transit Authority, you know, the subway has been around a long time. And, you know, people are eating snacks and dropping donuts and doing drugs and whatever they do in subways. And so there are these things called nutria. And at first I thought it was like an urban legend. And then I actually saw one or two. They're down under the tracks. They're in little corners. I mean, they're scary.
You know, I've been at this pet shop the other day because I have a cat and I buy toy now and then. And I've seen mice. They actually sell mice. And this woman in front of me, she bought 3, and she said she said that mice, like I wouldn't know, right? She said, "Do you know that mice actually love people?" I was
No.
like, "Meh, no, I don't think they love." But she said, "Yeah, yeah," and she gave me this lecture on why I should have mice as well. But I told her I already have a cat, which didn't really work as I would have intended it. But yeah, and today we discussed mice. But isn't that a coincidence?
Yeah, I mean, it is. Also, you know, different people, I think, are somewhat like their pet. So there is something, I'm going to call this pet therapy. Uh, you know, like I see these guys running with these dogs, and the dog looks just like them. Like the guy has a beard, and the dog's kind of shaggy, and the guy is running just kind of like goofy and kind of not real serious, and the dog's just kind of like running the same way. Or I'll see another girl in like yoga pants with like this amazing poodle on a leash, and like the poodle has like the pink collar and the girl has pink yoga pants. And I just kept thinking, well, that's the poodle pink girl. And then I've always had a cat because I like cats that are independent. They read on their own. They like different types of music. You know, they are kind of low maintenance and they're emotionally intelligent. I have found cats to be, well, almost superior to humans when it comes to, you know, they listen and, you know, they don't interrupt when you're talking.
Did,
And
did,
they're like, yeah, they're just the best.
did you say the pink poodle? Because I'm wondering, what does a pink poodle do?
Well, well, in the 1950s, there used to be a skirt called the poodle skirt. And um, it had a really tight waist and it like flared out when the girl would spin around. But a poodle is well, I mean, you always see it in the movies and in advertisements. You know, girls in Paris are walking their poodles and they're très chic and they're just too la la la. So to me, poodles and girls who own poodles and women who own poodles are very pretentious. They they are egotistical narcissists. So I mean, I have kind of a bias to girls with ponytails and they have little poodles because they are trying to lure men into their trap. Their trap is their
I,
nifty apartment.
I don't have any bias towards girls like that. Moreover, if I were a bar owner, I think I would use the name that pink poodle for a bar I would have.
That's great. Yes. That is
Pink poodle
great.
bar. How would you? I mean, would you like it? Would you come in? Would you
Oh
become
yeah.
like regular?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I'd be a regular, but if someone said, "Hey, let's go to the Pink Poodle," I'll go, "What is it? If are there any dogs there?" They'd say, "No, it's just the name of the bar." I go, well, "As long as there's no dogs there." And then I'd go in, and there'd be some like soft, weird pink lighting and like martinis and little booths you can sit in, and there'd be like a couple amazing bartenders. Yeah, I would totally
It's
go
like
in
it's
there.
like pink poodle bar, no dogs allowed.
Exactly.
It's
You
like
know,
you. Do you remember that story about truck drivers or not drivers, not truck drivers allowed?
yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, our friend Jared, was having a difficult time. I actually heard from him yesterday that
Hmm.
he was uh I was just in touch with him, asking him, like, how is he doing and what's going on? And he goes, I'm kind of delivering a load of toxic chemicals to Houston. I have to focus. And then he screenshot the inside of his truck that showed the temperatures. It was 105. That's in Fahrenheit. That's like so hot, and you're delivering a load of toxic chemicals. He said he had to focus and get the hell out of there because
Yeah,
Houston
I
has all
think.
the oil refineries.
Yeah, my chemistry isn't good, but since I left school, I thought that all chemicals are toxic at some level, even water. Yeah, drink too
Yeah,
much and it'll
especially if
kill
it's
you.
if it's coming through lead pipes. Lead pipes are laced with. I mean, well, the water comes out of. Sometimes it's just recycled water, or sometimes it's water that's been recaptured from the sea.
Hmm.
I don't know. I've
Yeah,
also heard that there.
what else do you have to say about mice and muffins?
Well, I was going to say that I think that on submarines and on ships and on pirate ships, sometimes mice are running around. Do you know anything about submarines or pirate ships and mice?
Pirate ships, yes, but I don't think there are mice on a submarine.
You
What I
could be
know
the.
about mice pretty much is like I have this gaming mouse or a computer mouse. That's
Oh,
all there
that's
is to know
right. Yeah,
about
yeah,
mice.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my personal top three mice like Logitech, I don't know, some kind of brands, but I haven't even like the only thing. I mean, the only time I've seen live mice just yesterday evening when I told you I've been in the pet shop. But and before that, I haven't been in touch with mice for 25 years or more.
Well, it's always time. It's always a good time to get back with your
Yeah,
your
it took
your
me
old
back in
friend.
time, really. And they're like cute and I don't know, really not as scary as if you would meet them somewhere in the wood or I don't know, underground.
Well, I recall. I know that you have both an excellent memory and a horrible memory, if such a thing is possible. But I remember 5 or 6 years ago, you were telling me that there was you were sitting in a chair somewhere where you live or something, sitting in a chair, and there was a sound behind you, and you thought there might be a mouse in the wall of the apartment where you live because you would hear some running and scratching up and down the wall, and you thought maybe there might be a mouse back there. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
I thought that because imagination, the it pictures you like the most horrible scenario that could ever happen. And I do have an excellent memory. I remember that. But you know what? There is a dark side to it because the excellent memory it makes me like obsessive creep about things that because I'm worried about everything that I ever seen or heard, and I would like to have some kind of memory vibe if there was such thing. Yeah, I would have buy this. Well,
Well,
but there isn't.
I know that like, and now don't go out and do this, but a lobotomy. Sometimes people that have like excessive, uh, excessively active, like prefrontal cortex stuff. I don't know, like,
Medusa oblongata,
yeah, whatever that
it's
thing
called.
is.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
that
because I know. Hmm.
Towns Van Zandt is one of my favorite Texas singer songwriters. He wrote a song called Nothing, and it was on on his honeymoon. He got married, and then he went into a closet and sat in the closet all night and smoked cigarettes and wrote a song. I mean, you got to imagine that that's just a marriage that is not going to go well. But anyhow, Townes Van Zandt, he has a county named after him. He comes from a Texas family, and his parents wanted him to go to law school. And he was very, very smart, and he didn't really want to do that, or maybe he did that a little bit. And one day he just decided, I'm out of here. And he had his guitar, and he just got on a train and just went to Colorado and hiked in the mountains, and he wrote songs. And he's like one of my heroes. I mean, he just followed his bliss. I mean, he just did what he wanted. And I just know that
Isn't that
Townes,
the guy who sold his soul to the devil? Like he disappeared and then he come back and created so many beautiful music like in less than a year. Isn't he?
well, no,
Is that him?
there's different songs about that. Like the story, Eric Clapton there's several different YouTube videos, and the concept is crossroads. At the crossroads, somebody goes, if you go and stand at a crossroad,
Yes.
the devil will appear, and you can make a deal for whatever you want. So Eric Clapton has a music festival that takes place quite often in Dallas, or right outside of Dallas. Right before the pandemic, I was going to go with my friend Alex, but we didn't realize the pandemic was going to happen. So we decided not to go. Then the next 2 years it was canceled, and we kept thinking like, God, we could have gone to that. But anyhow, this concept of meeting the devil at the crossroads and making a deal is like an archetypal thing.
Oh, it scares
Yeah.
me. It scares me.
No,
How does that make feel? How does that make
I
you
love
feel?
it. I
Really?
love it because,
Would you like be at the midnight, the crossroad, and waiting for someone to appear?
would I meet you? Would I go there? No, I'm just kind of oddly conscious of moments when it feels like a crossroads moment. Like, sometimes you'll be someplace and you have the opportunity to be involved with a person, and then you kind of get this warning, like, stay away from that. Or you're thinking of going someplace on a trip, and then you suddenly get this feeling, stay away from that. So for me, a crossroads moment is a moment when the devil's tempting you to some like disastrous, amazing adventure.
Yeah. But selling your soul isn't worth it, I think.
But there's a lot
I
of
don't know.
souls. You can like piecemeal it out little by little. Well, Faust. Faust is one of the epic stories of meeting up with Mephistopheles, and there's been operas and ballets and plays, and Dr. Faustus. I mean, he's like one of he's like another very powerful figure in our cultural mythology. But haven't you had some crossroads moments in your life?
Yeah,
Where you
absolutely. I
thought,
remember there was some kind of hair legs on it, paw. Somehow you have to have it, but I may be wrong here.
say it again, air legs?
The hair, that little fluffy animal, you have to have its paw, I think. I don't know.
It's
Rear
kind
paw
of
or
breaking
front
up a
paw.
little bit. Just say it a little bit louder.
Yeah, okay. The line, there is this vibe. I don't know what's wrong with that, but okay.
That's good. That's fine.
I haven't had any experience with using Devil's Crossroad thing. Also,
Well, yes, you did. I'm the therapist. I have notes on all our sessions. At one point in time, you told me you were on a subway and you had some peripheral vision. So you were underground, literally, riding the subway to or from someplace. And out of your peripheral vision, you thought a man was standing near you. And then somehow the subway car jolted and a woman grabbed onto this pole or something, and it was the same shapeshifter, but it was a man, then it was a woman, and then you just had this really weird feeling about her or it, and you were telling me that it was kind of a shapeshifter thing that made you kind of feel spooky. Was that the story?
Yeah, but that wasn't a part of any ritual. Because when you have a deal with Satan, you have to have a ritual.
Oh, ritual is the word. Yeah, okay, now I understand what you're saying. No, that was just kind of a weird moment. Yeah, a ritual. Yeah, I'm not going to make deals like that.
Yeah, everybody thinks that. But then
well,
all of a sudden,
when I was younger, I used to read tarot cards, or like occasionally someone would say, "Do you want me to read your palm?" Or, supposedly we are not supposed to look into the future because the future belongs to God, and we're just supposed to walk in the present. But I remember when I was younger, especially around college age, and also end of high school when I was in Europe, there was always magicians and circuses and people who wanted to read my palm, and like strange people. And I was always tempted to find out about the future. And people told me different things. And some of those things came true and some of them didn't. But I think that seeking to know the future is somehow related to all this. I don't know. But yeah, you're saying a ritual means you get up, you wash your face, you wash your hands, you take a candle, you go out to a crossroads, you take two sticks and you hammer them together, you put the candle on it, and then you light the candle and you say something like, Bloody Mary, turn around, don't make a sound. You make up some little song or little thing, and then you will call up something, a spirit, whether it's the devil himself or one of his agents.
Yeah. Well, while we're on it, sitting here and talking about it, I thought, why do cats even eat mice?
Well, because
I have domesticated cat, and she still catches. I buy toys for her, and I throw it away, and she chase after it and trying to eat it. I mean, a toy mouse. And
well,
I think that's a cute little creature. And if it is real mouse, I would have, and then kiss me or put right next to me and trying to be in any way like claws, I wouldn't feel as comfortable as I.
Well, because cats, grew in the wild, and they were good at. We talked in evolution about how, creatures crawl up trees, and when cats are in trees, like a squirrel going by or a mouse or something that they can easily jump upon. It's small, it's fast, and it's moving. They can jump upon it, and their claws sink into it, bite it, and then like drag the mouse back to their place so like the other cats can eat it. Like cats are predatory creatures, and just because they're domesticated doesn't mean that they don't have their primitive self. Just because you wear a suit and a tie and you wear shoes doesn't mean that you wouldn't like to run around naked in the forest or go to a nude beach or go swimming.
That's what I do. That's what I leave town for the weekend.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm saying, like, you're not a barbarian. But there is something very nice about just being out. Yeah.
Yeah, but my cat brought me a dead mouse. Just the other cat left it on the pillow, and I opened my eyes and I think, what the fuck is that? The mouse next to me, and I read that that's a sign of appreciation.
Yeah.
A dead mouse on a pillow. How would you feel if you found a dead mouse next to you?
Yeah, I was kind of upset a mosquito bit my ankle, so I'm not going to go with dead mice. But I like it when someone brings me barbecue. I like it. I like the food already cooked. Like I like it when someone shows up with bacon and eggs and say, "Let's have breakfast." Like I prefer a more civilized. I don't know. There are some places. I think it is either the Chekhov House or a Tolstoy Museum, or maybe it's the Hermitage. Yeah, the Hermitage has some famous cats, and these cats are second, third generation cats, and what they do is they chase and eat the mice. I don't know if it was the Hermitage or maybe it was the New York City Public Library, some like really old building. They have these famous cats that are descended from cats that lived at the same time as Tolstoy or Chekhov or
No, I don't remember reading that, but I do remember that. Um, well, the mice, if they know that there's a cat around, they just barricade the house as fast as they can. You don't have to have a cat in it. I think maybe that's what I should do. I just should maybe have some hair from my cat and spread it in my out of town house. And
hair.
yeah,
You're going to take
yeah,
hair
hair.
from your
What do you call
cat.
it? Fluffy. What's that?
Fur,
What's that called? Fur.
fur.
Fur. Right, exactly. But mine is also hairy. Yeah, fur. So, but I'm not gonna let my cat eat the mice because mice carry diseases, and cat can pick it up, right, from chewing it or
Well,
eating the
you have
mice.
to decide what do you want. So you want it both
I
ways.
just don't
You
want
want it.
mice. All I want is I don't want mice around.
You don't want mice in your summer house in the woods, or you don't
Yeah,
want
yeah,
mice
but
in your.
yeah, exactly. But my cat is in my apartment in the city,
I
and
know
I
you
read
can't.
that some
Yeah, that
study
ain't gonna
that
work.
why I read some study that said that mice uh, they're afraid. Well, the smell from a cat's hair. Can I say hair again? So if I
Fur.
spread out hair of fur in my out of town residence, the mice would know there is a cat. They would think there was a cat around, and they would vacate my house.
No,
Would
no,
that
no.
work?
Imagine if somebody dropped by to see you and to have some coffee or a beer or something, and they see on your table a whole bunch of cat fur. They'll say, "This man's crazy."
Well, I I'm not going to keep it on like on the table. I would just put it somewhere under the couch, or I don't know,
In the
make it
corner,
invisible
near
so
the
that only
doorway.
only mice would know. Yeah,
No, no,
because
the
I have
mice
this,
that live in the forest, the mice that live out there in the forest where you're chainsawing all around,
right.
those mice have
Lots of
more
them.
important things to do than mess with you.
Oh no, no, they keep coming into my house when I'm not there. And maybe I just drop some bread drops or something that I don't know. They
Oh, no,
apparently
no.
they're
Dropping bread is feeding them. You have to stop eating when you're out there.
yeah, that's what I think. Maybe I should just take beer or some Jack Daniels. No food, just drink.
Just drink
Because
it.
I don't think that mice can pick up on the smell of spirits, right? Or maybe they can, but they don't drink. I'm sure there are no like drunkards between
Well,
mice.
yeah. I mean, and the other thing is you have a car, so you could sit in your car and eat. You said you have a fridge there, so you'd just be out in the woods, sitting in your car, eating. And then,
Yeah,
when you finish eating, get out of the car, close it, and then go into your cabin or whatever, and hang out there.
yeah.
And
We don't have exterminators. You said that you have a pet control people at your place, but we don't have any such. And
yeah, well, it's ridiculous. The thing is, the reason we have pest control is they have wanted to add on mandatory fees. So they have the basic rent, then they have administrative fees, Then there's a separate fee for using a trash container out front. Then there's a separate fee for them coordinating the pest control guy. So it's just so they can add, 10, 15, 20, 35, they've added $150 worth of fees for absolutely nothing. And they have no intention of controlling the pests. This apartment complex is located on a creek, on a hill, on a creek bed that feeds into streams that go into White Rock Lake. There's possums, there's raccoons, there's snakes, there's scorpions, there's fish. It's like living in a jungle or a swamp. There's even alligators. Some part of Turtle Creek has alligators. And then people that don't want their cats anymore, the cat just wanders off and starts living with, it's like a dang zoo here. So the pest control in East Dallas is a sham.
And also, since you and also what I love about muffins is that they cook so fast. Not to change the subject.
Segue. Yeah, muffins are great.
Segue into muffins.
Segue into muffins. Yeah. Enough about
we've
the
been
swamp.
navigating this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, the picture on our cover shot shows a really great muffin, and it is blueberry, and it was so moist. It was really, really good. And
did you cook it yourself?
No, I didn't. Right, very near to me is a embedded bakery inside a Tom Thumb store, and the woman who's in charge of the bakery, she is like so great. Her name is Debbie, and she is of German stock, and so she knows some like the muffins and the bagels and a lot of the stuff she makes there in the store, and then some of the other stuff comes from corporate, but. I just happened to be there the other day and I saw this box that had had like a bear claw in it, and it had muffins, and it had like a Danish that has coconut on it. I just bought the box and brought it home, and then
you know what I like about the bakery muffins that they have these tops. I don't know how they make it. Maybe they put in on sugar on the crust, and I don't know how to make it crumble, to put on top, but I love it. Like big bakery muffin tops. That's the part I usually eat.
Yeah, they're great. They're really great.
The crunchy thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? Because the rest of the muffin is soft, but the top side is beautiful and tasty.
Yeah. And it's also
ask your friend if she has any.
Well, it's made because it puffs up over the edge, and then they also add the crumbly stuff. Is what it is brown sugar and flour. So when the muffin is cooking, there's a mixture of the muffin, and it has the blueberries in it. But the muffin top that has the crumbly stuff on the top is a mixture of brown sugar and flour. So when it bakes, it's a little bit crumbly and sweet. And so when you bite into it, you get this crunchy, crumbly, sweet thing. Actually, I am a baker myself.
Really? Do you know how to run a successful bakery?
Well, there's a wonderful, there's a wonderful bakery. My friend David Anton's mother's name is Marilyn, and she passed away a couple years ago, but she worked at one of the most famous bakeries in Texas. It's called Naglin's. It's over 100 years old. Now, in Texas, anything that's over 100 years old is old, but it's a hill country bakery, and they are famous for strudel and German cookies and muffins and they're just like, well, what I just know, I would model my bakery on Naglin's, which would be, there needs to be a little bit of outside seating. There needs to be trees. There needs to be like grapevines, little places for people to stop, a really great wait staff that can serve really fast and like only use real ingredients, no substitution, and don't be afraid to charge what you're worth.
You
Well, I
know,
mean, I don't know. I mean,
if I'm asked what business I would open if I have an opportunity, I would choose a bakery. Yeah, I would like to have a bakery, but all I know, we have a bakery, not we, that the village I go through every weekend when going to my like fallout shelter. There is a bakery in it, and at 8 a.m. they're open. And I asked
yeah.
once the assistant. I asked her, I mean, how soon do you open? And she said, in bakery the day starts at 4 a.m. I was like dropped my jaw dropped because 4 a.m. is really early, and she said, but don't like have no fear because the bakery always closed at 6 p.m. So
Yeah,
because
yeah. Well, they have to get up to get everything ready to start baking because most people want to come by and buy that stuff around breakfast time, 7 or 8 in the morning. So, yeah. I thought, you're going to have the Pink Poodle Bar in the city, and
yeah,
then a
but
bakery.
bakery out of it, out of
Yeah, I
town.
think that's great. I think that you will be much happier than you are currently in your current job.
I don't know.
I
Everything is relative. I've learned to this idea that everything is relative, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
Do you know
Yeah,
what I
I mean,
mean?
I didn't even know that I was going to have this muffin yesterday, and like Shazam, there it was. And then I didn't know that a mosquito was going to fly in, and I didn't know that David Anton was moving. Like, the pieces of life the puzzle pieces of life keep moving around, and it's it's uh it's challenging to try to keep up with it because I like to fit the puzzle pieces together and say, this is my life, or this is my summer, or this is my philosophy. But really, all the pieces keep moving.
Yeah. And today's conversation, I think, since you mentioned philosophy, I think that today's conversation is like something which is similar to everything, which is relative. And both parts are philosophically interesting and not obviously paradoxical, is it?
No, really, I mean, it's true. And we have such wonderful subscribers. I think we're going to have a new fellow. His name is Jonas, and I think he's from Dusseldorf. His family is part Moroccan and part Netherlands, and anyhow, he drifted off the earth for a while, but has returned and asked what's going on. And I said, "Oh, I have this channel." He goes, "Oh, is that with your imaginary friend?" I said, "Yeah, it's my imaginary friend." So Jonas might be joining us, but I mean, there are some of our subscribers who were sad and experienced some loss, and now they're painting and drawing and writing. Or we had some subscribers that are now being interviewed by historical societies, and I mean, our subscribers are the best. They are just like muffin-tastic. Wouldn't you agree?
I had an imaginary friend once.
Yeah.
Now I'm not sure if imaginary friend really a thing, but when I was a kid, it was. I can still picture him in my head, of course, because I'm not good with the pencil. Yeah,
What was he like?
like Donald Duck.
It was a duck.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I mean, it wasn't like a person. It was like kind of like a cartoonish character.
well, half of it, yes. The front half was like a duck.
Who was the
Like,
bottom
you see
half?
the duck in the water. I mean, the duck like seems to be sitting thing like in the water, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't see what's happening under it.
Oh, you mean the legs are there and he's paddling away?
There is a deep meaning in it because if you imagine, like, you have to be like Zen Catholic, you said. Your appearance
Yeah.
should be like calm and stuff, but deep down inside, maybe you're like a duck, using your legs as fast as you can to propel, yourself into the future. See my point?
Yeah,
I didn't have a specific
exactly.
imaginary image, but yeah, kind of like why not?
I don't know, it's true. Like today is before us, and I'm not sure what it's going to bring. I have some ideas, and oh, it's Tuesday today. Today, the pest control guy is scheduled. I'm starting to look forward to because the poor
You're
fellow.
getting anxiety from
No,
pest
no, I'm
control guy?
actually kind of excited because he's got 350 units. He's one guy with one little small truck and one little tank of like poison or whatever he's got, and like a
What do you mean
10.
350 units?
The place that I live has about 30
Oh,
or
I
40
understand. The apartments. Yeah,
buildings,
okay.
and individual
I see.
units, there's 350 of them. There's one little man with a little truck that James
I
is in
see.
charge of controlling all pests for this apartment complex that sits on the bank of a swamp with, like I said, cats, raccoons, mice,
You know what?
mosquitoes.
Not
Wow.
to seem to be rude or something, but I think that exterminators they maybe plant bugs intentionally because that makes like a job opportunity for them.
They may be what?
Plant bugs?
Planting bags?
Yeah. Does that make any
Bugs?
sense?
The
Yeah,
last
bugs, like
consonant I can't hear. Bugs?
yes,
And I just
like
know the last time
insects.
I saw him, he was supposed to come into the apartment to do, I had requested that he come in and do something. And I just saw him in his truck just sweating because it was super, super hot. And I was carrying some groceries upstairs, but I thought I better talk to James while I see him. I said, James, what are you doing? He said, I'm just trying to cool down. I go, it's so hot. What are you doing? What building are you on? He goes, I'm only on building 4. Like, I live in building 9.
But do
So
you
only on
trust?
building. Do
Do
I?
you trust the guy?
Well, I don't have any. I don't have any chance. I don't. No, he is mandated to come in, and he's got a master key.
Yeah, but do you
I
trust him?
just I just try to make friends with anybody that comes to my door by offering them like cookies or a beer or a donut or like, would you like a shot of whiskey? Because or tequila. Because
No,
once you
what
make
what I'm talking about, is you have mechanics, for instance, or a dentist or the doctor. Now you have the pet control person, and then you have to trust them all because they're doing
well,
things
the
to you.
thing that's so nice is finally they got one person. That means the company before, you would have different people every single week. Like maybe there's James, maybe there's Joe, maybe there's Carlo. Like maybe the guy's just spraying around your door and just walks away. Like at least this company they contracted with called Orkin has one guy who's supposed to show up. So I told the front office, I said, this is great. This guy knows what he's doing. He's wonderful. So now because James is doing a good job, he's being punished by them thinking that he can service 350 apartments. Like the better you do your job, the worse it is for you. Have you ever thought about that?
Well, welcome to my world.
How is that? Yeah, and especially the longer you stay at a job and you can do other tasks, and if you somehow survive the pandemic, they're just going to give you more and more work.
I feel like there's something that I'm missing at work because I don't know. How do you feel after 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 a therapy, after this therapy session episode?
Well, I feel
You,
pretty good. I had a little bit of coffee and
I mean,
let's see.
it's better than before we started it?
Yeah, it is because be- before we started, I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to get the conference room or if you were going to be talking on the street or if you were going to be in a basement hiding. Like it's always kind of a little strange figuring out where you're going to broadcast from because, I just never know what's going to happen when I hit the button to join in the conversation because sometimes you're in a private room, you're talking, it's not very easy. And sometimes you're on the street, people are crossing the street. Or once we were recording and I was in a dangerous thunderstorm. So it's always kind of an adventure, but I feel pretty good. It's good
No,
to hear your voice.
I wonder if, like, is the therapy session, is it about how you feel after a session, after the episode is over, or is it about like you shedding light on the parts of you that you don't see normally? And, maybe that's not about how you feel. It's more about what you understood.
Yeah, and well, for me, it's kind of like being with, like when I'm being with the therapist, when I go see Miss Elia, or when I used to go to Maureen Baki in Houston, or when you and I talk, like for a dedicated period of time, could be 30 minutes, could be 40 minutes, could be 10 minutes. Someone's listening, someone is present, someone is going, or and 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 just
Tesla?
having someone to be
Lacrosse?
with, someone just to listen and to kind of honor your story. That's a great feeling.
No.
I don't even have to have any
Thank you.
insights.
Yeah. You get my idea. I just thought that if you tackled something, you probably be tired. You may feel exhausted, but that's not the best thing because, or maybe you could feel amazing. Maybe that's even better. It really varies, I think.
Well, it's like I could go to a bookstore, or I could look at a YouTube video, or I could order something on Amazon about interpreting your dreams. But we have done some episodes and we have talked from time to time about dreams. So for me personally, just talking for a little bit about a dream, I get more, I'm going to say like confirmation or emotional release or whatever you want to call it, from just talking to you or a person about a dream than I would going to get a book and reading it and sitting and thinking and then not having any answers. And I don't know, I think we've talked about dreams before too.
Yeah, and today we talk about mice and muffins.
Well,
Mostly.
I might want to close out by mentioning a famous book by John Steinbeck. It's called Of Mice and Men.
Oh,
He also wrote The
we
Grapes
should
of
have
Wrath.
called this episode Mice and Men and Mice and Women.
Well, there's always next time, right?
Yeah. Can you tell me what that book is about?
Of Mice
Misogynistic.
and Men. It is about smallness and greatness. It is about living in America in the time of the Depression. It's about surviving under circumstances. And I think it's probably, I don't remember the specific name of the person in the story, but I just know it is a story about surviving against odds. And I haven't read it in a long time. I haven't read Grapes of Wrath in a long time, but I do like John Steinbeck.
I wonder how did he come up with such a title like Mice and Men? I should probably find it and read.
How did he come up with the title? How do we come up with our titles?
Well, because we are in therapy, but
no, we come up with titles. We have titles. You said, let's talk about mice. I go, I want to talk about muffins. And then we made a compromise. We decided, mice and muffins. Or we come up with another title like Nothing.
Yeah, but we don't write a book about mice and muffins. And the dude you mentioned, Mice and Men, he actually written it.
We wrote a book. It's called Drop and Roll.
Yeah, that's a work in progress. Because just 2 days ago, I accidentally added another episode.
Yeah, I don't
It's a
know.
book
Like
people
coming up
will
with
love to
titles
hate.
titles are kind of, I like titles because it's kind of like a little handle that you can hold on to. But like the Grapes of Wrath, what a great title. Or Go Down
Mm.
Moses is a title of a Faulkner story. Or
Or a pink
The
poodle.
Labyrinth. What was it? The Labyrinth story? The Garden of the
Oh,
Forking Path.
Garden of Forking Path. Right? How
Yeah.
do you feel about that?
I love thinking about it. Reading that Borges stuff gives me a headache. When we read some of that, it was physically difficult to get through the sentences. And like you're an experienced reader, you've read lots of stories and novels on YouTube, on your own channel, and with me. And I've read many, many books and talked to students about books. I would say reading Borges out loud was some of the most difficult sentences to claw our way through. Do you remember that? We're just trying to figure out when to take a breath, and there's like still 4 more lines you have to read.
I do
It's
remember
difficult.
that. It is difficult, but it's also interesting. I enjoy that.
Yeah. Yeah, you like difficult things.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that novel,
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. I thought it was an interesting novel to read.
Well, there's
And
another one that I started to try to look at because I said, I think we should go back. I told myself, I think we should go back to Borges. And so I thought, oh, what are his other famous ones? The Library of Babel. And I thought that must be easy because, God created
nothing is
people
easy.
and people did this. And then he split people into different languages. And the word babbling is like it's biblical. I kept thinking, yeah, I know I can read this. Oh my gosh, I just started to read the first few lines. And it was like, I started getting a pulsing headache. Then I stopped reading it and I found a YouTube video of this fellow that has a nice voice. I don't know if he's an American or what. I think he's like,
Of course,
yeah,
he's
he's an
American.
American. Yeah, and he was reading the Library of Babel, and like I was getting nauseated just listening to him. I finally had to turn it off. Like the Library
Yeah.
of Babel, yeah, we have to try to read like just the first like page. It is such
Yeah,
dense writing.
but let's not forget that things, even if we try, that things can go wrong despite how hard we try to read it.
Oh, things are always going wrong. Things will go wrong even if you're not planning it.
I don't know. Okay, I gotta go and get me some bite.